We're now at the beginning of our next unit, World War I, or the Great War. This is Section 1, Marching Towards War. For this one, we're going to be looking at the indirect causes, the causes that are rooted underneath all of the action going on in Europe, and how these things lead to a major war. Basically, no one saw this war coming, and those who saw this war coming were pretty much ignored. And when the war starts, people thought that this war was only going to last a couple months. The war basically starts in the beginning of August, and people thought the war would end before the leaves fell off of trees, which is in September and October. So they thought this war was going to be a couple months long. Turns out millions of people die, and it lasts well more than a couple of months and into many years. So here it is. These are the underneath the things causing the war. Let's start out with nationalism. Nationalism helps cause this war because people are going to be looking at their countries and wanting to be their country to be number one. You know, nationalism is extreme pride in your country. If you have extreme pride in your country, you want your country to be the best, and you're also going to look down on other people. You're also going to see with nationalism, if people have extreme pride in their country, they're going to be willing to die for their country. And also, I want you to know about a war called the Franco-Prussian War. This is a war in the late 1800s. This war helps create Germany. As a result of this war, Germany becomes a nation, led by Otto von Bismarck. And Germany, at the time it was Prussia, greatly defeats France, and France is annihilated. That really makes Germany become pretty arrogant, but it also causes France to want to settle old scores. So keep in mind that wars have been fought in Europe leading up to World War I in recent times, and people are going to be looking to settle old scores. This is a picture of the German troops right here, and they are in Paris. That's the Arc de Triomphe. And in Paris, what ends up happening is Germany easily, the Prussians, like I said, easily win this war, and France is humiliated. And Germany gets land from France. So keep that in mind. Nationalism is an underlying cause. People are seeking revenge, Franco-Prussian War. People are willing to die for their countries. And also people want their own countries. There are still people in Europe, we'll talk about the Bosnians later on, who don't want to be controlled by ethnic groups that they're not part of. They want to join their ethnic groups and create their own countries. And that's going to be seen in Bosnia, how they want to join Serbia because of their ethnicity and want to split from Austria-Hungary. And Austria-Hungary is going to say no. We'll spend more time on that. But there's nationalism, one cause. Imperialism is another cause. European countries begin to compete over land that has been colonized. All the pieces of the puzzle are now taken. Africa has been colonized, East Asia has been colonized, and the Middle East has been colonized. Certain sections of the Middle East. And Germany's late in the game. Germany is that kid in the Easter egg hunt, and Italy is that kid in the Easter egg hunt, let's focus on Germany, who is slow to the start. He's inside, and he doesn't know the Easter egg hunt has started, and he comes outside and all the kids have taken all the eggs and he's got no Easter eggs. Well, he's going to be an upset boy. And the only way Germany or this kid can get Easter eggs is by punching another kid in the face and taking his Easter eggs from his basket. And that's what Germany is going to be willing to do. Germany only has control of this land, and a sliver of land in here in Africa, and a little bit up in here in China. So they're going to be willing to fight to get more of this land. Germany wants to become a strong nation. Why? Nationalism. How are they going to do that? They need to take over the land that has been imperialized. Imperialism. So people are going to be willing to fight for this land because of the imperialistic movement causing that land to be colonized by Europeans. Okay? Here we come to another one, militarism. Militarism is your building up of an army. Just like this guy is building up his muscles with his biceps, triceps, and abs. This guy is going to be willing. He's got a mean face. Why does he got a mean face? Because he can get away with having a mean face. And he can get away with cool green paint and white paint. And no one's going to say, hey, you look kind of weird, because he'll punch you in the face. The point is, with militarism, The country that I really want you to know is Germany. Germany is really building up their military. Why? Because they're looking to become a very powerful nation. Why? Because they're nationalistic. They're proud of their country, and they want that land that has been imperialized. And the guy behind that is not this guy right here, but Kaiser Wilhelm II. Kaiser Wilhelm II is the leader of Germany. Oops. Kaiser Wilhelm II, right here. And Kaiser Wilhelm is very proud. He's very stubborn. He has complete power, or most of the power in Germany. People considered him unstable, very odd. But he wants to show how strong Germany is. And they're getting very powerful. And countries like Britain, France, are getting very nervous about that, because their colonies are going to be threatened as Germany becomes more powerful. And the fourth and final reason is alliances. This is the most confusing part of the causes, but when you have all these alliances and secret alliances, if one country begins to fight another country, then all these countries are going to be drawn into fighting and supporting their alliance. So if Germany, let's just say hypothetically, Germany and France get into another war, okay? Germany and France get in another war, then all these other countries up here are going to be drawn in to help Germany. All these countries down here are going to be drawn in to help France, okay? That's not how it actually happens. Germany ends up starting to get intense with Russia, and all these countries get involved. We'll talk about that in more detail. But you have the Triple Alliance. During the war becomes the Central Powers. Okay? And that's Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Italy. Italy will drop out, but when the war kicks in, the country that helps the Central Powers is the Ottoman Empire or Turkey. And the other side, the other alliance, is called the Triple Entente. And when the war begins, they're going to be called the Allies. So during the war, I'm going to be calling the Central Powers versus the Allies. But before the war, it would be the Triple Alliance and the Triple Entente. The Triple Alliance is Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy. And you can see why they're called the Central Powers, because when the Turkish Empire, the Ottoman Empire join in, this is the Central Powers. They're the center of Europe, kind of. You can see how they're in the center. And you have the Triple Entente, France, England, and Russia. Now you should be looking at Russia and England and being confused. Why are they allies? After all, we talked about the great game in the Crimean War and how in the 1800s England and Russia would fight each other. It's not because they really became friends so much, it's because they're seeing the power of Germany and how Germany is becoming so powerful, how Germany is becoming jacked up like that guy. And in order to keep Germany from getting too powerful, England realizes their biggest threat is not Russia, but Germany. Okay? So here you have these alliances, and that is how Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Italy team up, and here it is Russia, France, and England team up. These are the underlying things. Again, nationalism, extreme pride in your country. You want your country to be number one. You're willing to fight for your country. People want to have their ethnic groups united, and people want to split from previous countries, which are going to cause wars. That'll make more sense as we talk about it. Imperialism. Here you see people willing to fight over colonies. Germany in particular is late in this game, and they want Easter eggs. They want colonies. And then militarism. Germany's going to be building up their military. Kaiser Wilhelm. Kaiser Wilhelm is going to get very powerful military, and that's making Europe nervous. And the stronger you are, the more likely you are to use your military. And here these alliances are going to draw all these countries into a world war. And our next podcast, we're going to talk about the assassination, the spark that causes this war to occur. Real quick, a way in which remembering this idea of all these alliances, you have the IMA and all that different stuff. You have, you have the acronym that you can use to help you remember, and it's MAIN. Okay, militarism, alliances, imperialism, and nationalism. So there we go. 4 causes underlying the World War I or the Great War.